Extremely important story, much more important than most people in the world understand. All right, and we'll get to that. So, when President Trump was campaigning to become president the second time, he often attacked the Biden administration for not being able to deal with Putin. Okay? Trump's line was, if I had been reelected in 2020, there would have been no Ukraine war. That's what President Trump said clearly. Here's what he put forth on October 14th, 2024. Go.
There's so much bad happened in this administration. It's disgraceful. You know, as an example, there'd be no war with Russia and Ukraine. There's no way I get along very well with Putin.
And then when he was elected for the second time, Donald Trump, and I know this to be true, okay, was very optimistic that Vladimir Putin would cooperate in a ceasefire. Very optimistic. But that did not turn out to be true. So now, today, we are in a second phase. First, the casualties. This is unbelievable. So Putin invaded the much smaller nation of Ukraine in February 2022. Since that time, 250,000 Russian troops have been killed. Up to 100,000 Ukrainians have died. 700,000 Russian troops have been wounded. 300,000 Ukrainian troops wounded. More than 6.5 million refugees have fled Ukraine and they have gone all over the world. This is from the Center for Strategic and International Studies and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So these are very well documented statistics, okay? So it is a situation that's totally out of control. And there's more death every day. Okay. So you would think that there would be some kind of move from Vladimir Putin to stop the carnage. Trump offered him a pretty good deal. What you have now you can keep, which is about 10% of Ukraine, and then we'll lift the trade sanctions, but Putin said, blank you. Okay, all right. Now, today, Trump is angry with Putin. Roll the tape.
So in a nutshell, we're going to make top-of-the-line weapons, and they'll be sent to NATO. NATO may choose to have certain of them sent to other countries where we can get a little additional speed, where the country will release something and it'll be mostly in the form of a replacement. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple. And they'll be at 100%. And that's the way it is. That can be more simple. It's just the way it is. I hope we don't have to do it.
All right. So we're going to sell weapons to NATO, and they'll give them to whoever they want, which will be the Ukrainians. All right. Maybe the Poles will get some too, because Poland borders Russia. Now, the sanctions. The only way to break Putin is to say to the international banks, you can't do business with Moscow. Now, China and North Korea are going to do business with Moscow no matter what, okay? But if the rest of the world, if the banking system doesn't, then Putin is done. That's the sanction that matters. I would have done that sanction 6 months ago when it was clear that Putin was not going to stop killing people. But just keep that in mind. Sanctions are only effective up to a point. You have to understand that Vladimir Putin does not care about his own people. If they starve to death, he doesn't care. I mean, obviously, when you've got 250,000 dead and 700,000 wounded, that's approaching 1 million casualties for what? For what? You think Putin cares about human life? He does not. He is a psychopath. He enjoys inflicting pain on human beings. And I know that because we researched this man, Putin, as well as anybody could. And he leads my upcoming book on September 9th, Confronting Evil. He's on the cover of it, as you probably know. All right, this is not a normal human being, Putin. He's a lot like the mullahs, okay? Very similar, and in fact, the mullahs never would have stopped funding terrorism, and they probably haven't to this day, but we don't know about it, ever, until we bombed them and they were looking at the edge of extinction. Then the mullahs pulled back. Okay, but they were never going to stop killing people because they like to kill people. This is Iran. Putin's the same way. It's the same thing. But we can't bomb Putin because he has nuclear weapons. And you just can't get into that kind of a confrontation on this planet. Putin knows that. And he flashes the nuclear thing all the time. All right, so summing up, NATO is going to purchase a number of very sophisticated U.S. weapons, including Patriot missiles. Trump went out of his way to say NATO is going to pay us for them to mollify the far-right isolationist movement. That's what that was about. And then Trump says, if we don't have a ceasefire in 50 days, 50, okay, 100% tariffs. But unless he does the banking stuff, it's really not going to matter very much. And that's the memo. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on X. Look for @Bill O'Reilly.